for joining us today for this webinar on Welltech. So this is following the Welltech edition of the We Think magazine, where I had the pleasure to have interviews of some of the brilliant people we have on the panel today, including Christopher, Tammy, and Vanja. And the goal of this webinar is to go a little bit deeper from the conversation, ask questions if you have questions. And yeah, for people who are joining us live, it's the opportunity to know everything you ever wanted to know and even more about Welltech. So welcome everyone. Thank you. Can I ask you to introduce yourself, please? Like Christopher, if you want to start.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for the invite, Celine. This is wonderful. I'm excited. So my background is in integrative health and wellness. I've been in private practice for nearly 20 years, based out of here, Greenwich, Connecticut, but see clients, patients all over the world. My education and research was in medical anthropology, as well as over the years, neuroscience, behavioral science, the gut microbiome, kind of integrating all of that into my private practice. And then my roles as either a consultant, advisor, or science officer with the various companies that I engage and interact with. That's the shortest version.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great. Tammy, do you want to go next?
Sure. Thank you again, Celine, for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. And a little bit about me. I'm the Vice President of Spa and Wellness at the Carillon. I've been there 8 years. And I oversee 70,000 square feet. We have integrative and functional medicine. We have Chinese medicine. We have a chiropractor, a physical therapist. We have traditional spa treatments. We have touchless wellness technologies and wellness experiences. And, we've even with technology, we have it in the spa, but we also have it in our hotel rooms. We have bright beds. We're trying to add circadian lighting. So we try to sort of weave wellness throughout Carillon because we are a wellness resort and we're the largest East Coast wellness resort. As you can see behind me, we have a large, beautiful beach that people get to experience and try. And we have a thermal hydrotherapy circuit with 7 different heat activations and 1 cold. So if you're ever in Miami, you have a friend there and you can reach out to me and I will get you a day pass so that you can come in and experience some things.
Yeah, and I've done it. I came to visit you and experience the facilities, and it's really blow my mind. It was really incredible, and it was when was that? Maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I came, and
Yes.
it really put Welltech for me and also the work I'm doing with my client, but also for my corporate clients and also my like B2C clients. Yeah, it really put Welltech to an other level for me. So yeah, thank you so much. You're really a pioneer in terms of hospitality in that area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vanya, do you want to go?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm Vanja and I'm the Global PR and Communications Manager for Foreo. I don't know if you know us. We are a Swedish techno beauty brand. What is a techno beauty brand? Is getting together the best of the technology with beauty. We have been in the market for 12 years and we are Swedish, so everything goes under the Swedish philosophy of minimalism, like best results, minimum time. We want to make our founder wanted to make like life so easy, and he was like, okay, you don't need like a lot of time to have great results, and we have the technology to do this, to make this happen. So I have been working I started in the local team for Spain and Portugal, and now in the global team, now for 3 years, and always very, very, very related to the beauty and wellness world, working for different hotels, beauty brands, and now within this adventure of technology that we have seen that it's not just a trending topic, it's going to be for long. So happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I'd like to start this discussion by where is the line of the different Welltech interventions and the amplitude, because it's so wide. So it includes the beauty area, the fitness, the health, etc. And like, to give you like a concrete example, actually, I've been using your one of your device, one of the Foreo device, the infrared red one, not just for beauty and for face, but also for muscle pain. Or my dog had an operation, and I used it to heal her scar. So where is the line between all of the different interventions and the formats of Welltech?
I think now that something that we have seen is like that we understand beauty through wellness. I mean, now it's like, okay, of course we want to look good and everything, but it's also about feeling good. And when you feel good, you show that. I mean, we always know when you are in your prime, you are good with your friends or your couple and on the work, you have that glow that you can wear all the mask, all the makeup, all the skincare creams or whatever, that if you feel good, you are going to show this. So this way, I think everything has changed to that too. Everyone is looking for this wellness that includes to look good, and that means beauty, but also feeling good with, as you were saying, like you have a muscle pain or whatever. That's also it's beauty, it's health, no? So that's the reason why we have been, for example, in our case, we started developing cleansing devices. It was like okay for clean skincare and everything, but we have seen that people needs more, because after doing your routine, you feel good for the mood. And the same happened with the LED lights. Now what we have seen is like LED lights are great to have a good skin and glowing, but also we have seen results in the mood of the people. But this happens. We're talking about the weather and everything, and I can see the difference when you are like in a sunny place. You wake up and it's like okay, amazing, and then you feel 1 day great, 2 day great, 3 day great. It's like okay, I don't feel so good. So with these LED panels that, for example, we have, or LED in general, we have seen that you can have an impact on your mood. So we are talking about this technology applied to beauty, but also to things that go more than on a physical way, also on a personal or more mental health. That it's always now on top.
I see, like, what are
Yeah.
your take on? Yeah, I see you wanted to say something, Christopher. Go ahead.
Well, I think what Vanya is kind of describing and what's been, I think, more than a trend, but I think it's actually kind of the coalescing of things over time is an integrative approach to wellness. I think before we were kind of figuring out these little segments of wellness, meditation or kind of, retreats, maybe an individualized product here or there. But now we're starting to really understand that we have to look at the whole human, both from a behavioral perspective and an environmental perspective, and kind of putting those two things together and understanding how each one has sort of a valid or a validated response or stimulus in the body positively to produce wellness, to produce longevity. Um, Loved what Tammy was saying about Carillon, and that they're trying to incorporate something like circadian lighting, because now we know how important light is, both from these like specific wavelengths of light that you would find like in your like an LED panel or red light therapy device, but also just the light that we're being exposed to from, morning to afternoon to evening, and how that can impact our wellness, our ability to sleep well and manage stress, etc. So I think that's where I'm kind of seeing things. And so where's the line? I'm not sure. I think it's because because we're integrated, right? We're very much like a part of our environments and influenced by our environments. I think we're kind of figuring out more so like what's working and what isn't. what's kind of validated and what isn't validated, what's practical, and what you can do in a location and what you can take home with you. So it's yeah, it's an interesting time to be in this domain as we keep kind of advancing things in this direction.
And I want to touch on something Christopher just said, because we got into technology at the Carillon in 2020. And behind me, I have 580 units that are residential. And then I have 100 hotel rooms. And we do about $10 million in revenue through the wellness side, through the spa side, through the touchless side. And 60% of it comes from my local community. 10% comes from the resident, and 30% comes from the hotel guests. And what we've seen back in the day, Miami was a little different than the rest of the world, definitely not like Connecticut, and definitely not like Europe, where we closed in March, but we reopened on the weekends in Miami. We launched 7 different technologies that would help people have a healthier immune system, technology that would help people be able to breathe better, since we use salt through that, infrared. But we had 7 different technologies that worked on sleep, detoxification. So what we saw happen from 2020 to right now is we started selling it in 3-pack, 6, 9, and 12. And my local community and my residents were buying it, because at the time, anybody 50 and over was not coming to the spa for treatments. But on the weekends in July of 2020, my lobby was full of 20-year-old, 30-year-old, and 40-year-old. They were getting massages, facials, body treatments. They were not stopping at that. But we did see 50 and over. Now, what we saw transpire between there and now is integrating our wellness technology with traditional spa treatments. So to everyone's point here, with the red light, blue light, green light, with the red light, yes, for pain management, we created a wellness circuit that was for pain management and recovery, muscle recovery. 5 of the 15 Miami Heat come and do that circuit when they're in town, when they're not, out playing. But we saw integrating more and more into traditional services. Like today, you can do the salt float bath and then get a massage to follow. So there's lots of things that are changing and shifting. But I will tell you that, when we launched technology, we were only doing about 48,000 the first year, which again was the COVID year. And now we're approaching 400,000. So technology is not going away. People will continue to want and strive to have it. And as Christopher said, even people buy the technology to put in their homes today because they had an experience, they felt different, and now they want to have it in their homes so that it's convenient for them, for those that can afford it. But I don't think technology is going away. And I don't think there's going to be a line drawn in the sand. The only thing that I always tell people is, a lot of technology companies make a lot of false claims. And if they don't have white papers or research behind them, beware. I mean, that is one thing you should ask. If you're going to work with any company or purchase something, you should know the facts and the research behind it to prove that it's actually going to provide the service that it says.
That's a really good point, and I see it a lot also with my clients. They want to make like the buzzword right now is longevity. They want to have to do a longevity spa offering, but they have no idea what that means, what's behind that, what technology are supporting that. Sometimes they're also coming with technologies that do the same thing because they don't understand what everything is doing. So do you think that with that, well, first, the market seems to be more complex and requires also more knowledge, both from the spa people, from the therapists, from the people who do the spa concepts, because they need to know what they're doing and not just tick boxes and say, let's put a sauna, let's put a hammam and a pool and we're done. Like, this is much more complex now. And also from the consumers, because they enter or at least have more guidance from the spa, because otherwise you enter to these spaces where you have so many different modalities and you have no idea how to really use them in an optimized way and the most beneficial way.
Mm. Yeah, you're kind of hitting on programming around this, right? Like, how do you create a sequence that's synergistic with each other? Something like contrast therapy or hermetic stress, you have to understand what the timings are, and not just timing in terms of how long you would say, stay in a sauna or in a cold plunge, but also time during the day to optimize you, right? It might be that, a cold plunge in the afternoon is the worst thing you could do for your health and longevity, wellness. And so you kind of, Tammy's right in that, number one, you have to let the science lead the way, let the data lead the way. I think the companies, organizations, tech companies, or hospitality groups that are doing that are going to see vast amounts of differential. I think you also have to have a measurable component to it, and I think we're only starting to get into that area in the form of like wearable tech. So integrating something like a ring device. I'm not going to try to promote anybody specifically, but a ring device or a strap on you that can measure things like HRV. I kind of see, if I was going to predict one area that's going to really blow up, is how we quantify, measure, and then treat stress. I think HRV is only just on the sort of in its infancy in terms of how it's being understood, widespread. I think once that becomes a little bit more mainstream, you're going to see a lot of these groups and tech companies focus on that metric specifically, because it is, it's, it's more than a keyhole. It is the snapshot of your stress, of your strain on your body, and how you are, most importantly, how you're recovering. We're going to be stressed, right? It's a matter of how you recover from it. And I think so having that measurable component, through these devices, non-invasively to begin with, but then perhaps some iterations later, is certainly a direction we're going in.
I think to Christopher, a point that you just made, for stress comes from many different forms. And I always tell people one of the core things for your wellness is good sleep, right? We know that sleep has caused a lot of health issues, including stress, because you don't have time to recover. Our brains need to detox, our bodies need to detox and relax and recover from what we've done the day before. But for instance, one of the things that we've focused on at Carillon is we have a sleep wellness program. Most of our programs are 4 nights, 5 days. And, we address sleep. We have AI beds that document your sleep. And we do have data to prove that if you slept in our AI-driven beds, that your sleep has improved by 75%. That's collecting data, because the bed is collecting that information on a nightly basis. And the cool thing about, I think, what AI is, being a big part of, is being able to not just come to the Carillon, but I would look for another place that also had a similar AI bed, because I can type in my name. It already knows how I sleep. It already knows what the bed has to adjust to. I'm a side sleeper, and side sleepers have a hard time because you've got the pressure on your shoulder and your hip. And that's the reason we flip flop all night long, where the bed is adjusting and taking that pressure off those 2 points. So I do think, to your point, beyond even wearables, I think anything that's tracking and collecting data to help people be able to sleep better, that's one of the big things that we need to focus on. And a lot of people struggle. And I mean, maybe it didn't all start with COVID, but we heard more and more people discussing with us about their sleep, that they couldn't sleep. They were sleeping 4 hours a night or 5 hours a night. They didn't feel rested. They weren't, like, when they would wake up in the morning, they didn't feel like ready for the day. So I think that also causes a tremendous amount of stress on your work life, your family life, because we're all juggling a bunch of balls all day long, trying to get through the day so that we can sleep. And when you can't, look what happens. You know what I mean? I think sleep is one of our core things beyond, yes, exercise, yes, eating.
Mm.
Wellness isn't just one thing, it's many things that we have to do to take care of ourselves. But I do think that sleep is one of the core things that we have to focus on for our own wellness and well-being.
No, it's true. For example, our devices, we have microcurrent devices and everything. And we have seen, like, for example, that they don't just use the microcurrent devices for a lifting phase. No, no, no. They use it, for example, the people who have season, so they don't sleep, so they use it for that. The people who have migraines, we have this technology that, relaxes the muscles. So now they have seen, like, for example, in these devices and this technology, a way, to relax, to find a way to finalize with this stress and all this anxiety that we are living nowadays. So, for example, we need to develop like different massages, and we have one massage that is shiatsu massage, and it's like just to relax the muscles and to have rest and to have this moment of relax. But it's not just like lifting, glowing. No, it's like I need to calm down, and we can use this for that. So
I
here, we
saw
are mixing this about beauty and wellness again.
Yeah, I saw actually the other day like a device like you put it around your neck and it provides microcurrent to your vagus nerve to relax your vagus nerve and help you like calm down and
Mhm.
relax. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, vagal stimulation is definitely, I think we're going to something we'll see a lot more as a treatment modality, right? Because what you're doing with vagal stimulation, sorry, just very quickly for those that don't know here, is when your nervous system is dysregulated, right? So you've moved from parasympathetic state, rest, digest, calm, that Vanya was talking about, into sympathetic activation, right? Sort of the flight, fight, freeze, fawn state. That information, that data is being passed from your brain to your body via the vagus nerve and those pathways. And so these vagal stimulators, in short, can stimulate the vagus nerve to help bring you back, to help you reset, into sort of like neutral and then move into parasympathetic state again. I think that's definitely an area of technology that's growing, and you're going to see more of that. Again, move towards devices that are validated, that have the research, clinical studies, absolutely. Some of this is a little bit of mind over matter happening, a little placebo. Some of it's real and true. I've also seen TMS devices, right? Like there's like helmets that have been hugely effective in producing wellness results from addiction to depression to ADD, ADHD, and been enormously effective. So that's great, but then I think you also have to get at the root, okay? Like, where is this dysregulation coming from? How is this been sort of encoded or conditioned into the nervous system? And how can we recondition that nervous system to not be so stress reactive in the first place? How can you build more resilient nervous systems so that the bar on stress, so what stressed you at one time no longer does at all? And I think that's where you come back to these environmental factors, behaviors, and kind of combining them all. And of course, you need we need practices in life that help us, that soothe us and help us cope. And I think that's where the beauty tech kind of comes into that. That's where like a massage, traditional like spa treatments come in, somatic healing, that sort of thing. But if we're not getting to the root, then you're still kind of you're just it's just you're treating the symptoms. You're not getting to the core of it, right? So I think you're going to see more understanding around that. And not to sound like a broken record, but to kind of circle back around, that's why biometrics or something that gives insight into the heart rate variability, blood pressure, body temperature can be really important because it helps you identify that you're in that sympathetic state in the first place. And then from there, you can do something in real time practically about it.
Do you think that these devices, so like it's great for the data and the information that they provide, I guess on a maybe short to medium term basis, but do you think that a usage, like a continuous usage, could actually um, like make the people who wear them or make us even more reliable on the technology instead of listening to our own body? Like for me, like the all this tech is great, and I love it for like a snapshot and to help like maybe recalibrate. But I feel that like I don't wear anything, but I feel like if you use it on a longer term basis, like then you listen to the app or you listen to the watch or the ring or whatever, but it's a way to bypass your own inner wisdom and listening to your own body, and then like not going to the root cause but just going to the symptoms, and um like not doing the deep work, but just like working on the moment to like the root cause that is signaled by the app or the device.
I will tell you one story that, sometimes back to Christopher, he's saying a root, let's find the root. Here's a very quick story. A gentleman and his wife had been divorced for 10 years. She died suddenly. And, I don't know how many people know what divorce is. I can speak on that one. You say a lot of things you shouldn't say, maybe things that are very hurtful. So the man's ex-wife dies, and he couldn't sleep more than 2 hours a night. He refused to go on sleep aids like pills that would take him to sleep. So his daughter, who's a luxury magazine editor, called me and said, Tam, my dad doesn't live far from you. I'm really worried about his health. He can't sleep, and you have technology like a sleep wellness technology circuit. Would you consider helping my dad? I said, of course. I said, send him to me. She goes, well, I'm going to come for a week and I'll be with him along this journey. So he did a sleep wellness circuit with us, which is 5 different technologies, 2.5 hours. And what happened with him is the shock of his ex-wife dying, which, there is a connection. They were married for 30 years. His circadian was like shut down. He came, did 2.5 hours, went home, and he went to sleep for 8 hours. Now, this is a man for 365 days did not sleep more than 2 hours. Now, I said to him, our brains, our bodies are a whole memory. There's a memory to it. So even though he went home and slept, let's do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The end of the story, he does, and we reset his circadian rhythm to his body, to his sleep, but sometimes we get tremendous emotional shocks that cause us to shift in different behaviors in the body, and we all are different. So in his case, the good thing was he didn't want to take a pill to go to sleep. He refused to do that, but he found another way. And I think that's where technology can provide, short-term and long-term health benefits for us. But I do agree that, you have to have the right technology you know, collaborating together for someone's health if you're going to do a wellness circuit. But I'm just saying, I think technology is great for many reasons, not just for long-term health, but also for someone who can't sleep and they're looking for a solution, a more holistic solution than popping a pill and helping them go to sleep, which that wasn't the root. The root wasn't the pill was needed.
Mhm.
He needed to shift some things in his body, in his mind, and what was happening to him, and it worked. So I think there's lots of opportunity for technology
I
as we
think
Mhm.
learn and grow.
Mhm.
I think the key is to know how to use technology, but in all our aspects of our life, like technology is there. It's like when they say, no, AI is going to finish with all of us. I mean, AI is amazing, it's going to help us, but you need to know how to use technology. But I mean, it's like key. We are at
Right,
the end, we are humans and we think about us, so
right,
I totally agree on that. It's like
Yeah.
a very good use of technology when, how, and who can use it.
right.
Mhm.
I think that's a wonderful question, Celine, and a really powerful example, Tammy. What you are describing with this gentleman who lost his ex-wife is how trauma and grief gets manifested into the nervous system and how it can affect
Mhm.
us. Um, and kind of beautifully, so I in my private practice, I do a lot of trauma work, PTSD, and rather than sort of some of the more traditional methods out there by kind of going back in time and trying to like heal the event,
Right,
I focus on healing the nervous system today and how it
right.
responds and reacts. And that's what makes sort of like, these technologies and also these locations like yours so powerful and effective. I mean, they're really like the new healing arts, right? I mean,
Mhm.
because when you can recondition that nervous system, right, to no longer be it locked in that state or reactive to certain experiences, triggers, memories, that's what healing is, right?
Right.
So really powerfully, it brings them out of that grief cycle, out of the trauma, and back into normal circadian rhythm, back into being well again. And so I think it's that these are some really beautiful interactions that are happening.
Right.
What's great is you're starting to see more education on it, right? So people understand that this is what's even happening. I think that's something that's a lot of the work I'm trying to do is get the word out, right?
Yeah.
So that people understand that not only what they're experiencing, well, what they're experiencing and how that translates into their physiology, but then what to do about it, that there is a pathway out of it. And so I think you're providing
Right.
both of those things in
And
different
one thing,
ways.
Christopher, another story that I saw with my own eyes, and that's what I've had the opportunity for 5 years to see what technology can do. But I had a gentleman who was on 10 different medications. He had COPD. And I said to him, I could tell you something you could try. I'm not telling you I'm a doctor. I'm just going to tell you if you want to get off the medication, never
Mhm.
believing that he would get off everything. But I said, just try it. So he sat in salt therapy, infrared salt therapy. He did it for 1 year, 365 days for 1 hour a day. 6 months into it, he was down 5 medications. At
Mhm.
the end of the year, he was off everything and he could walk up steps. He could never walk up steps. He always had to take the elevator. And again, he made a commitment to his body, right? He said, I'm going to try this. And he did it and it did work for him. Now, I'm not suggesting that works going to work for everyone because we're all individuals. We all have different health issues and different things that we don't even know behind those health issues. But I'm saying when people dedicate themselves to getting well, and I heard I'm very involved with Global Wellness Summit. We're a big supporter,
Mhm.
and I just got back from Dubai. And I heard a doctor say, I can impact your health 80%. I mean, 20%, you have the power to make yourself well. 80%, I can't make you well. I can give you direction, I can give you guidance, I can make recommendations, but you are responsible for your own wellness. And so I think that as time goes on, we will all learn more and more and more about our own wellness and what those triggers may be, or what we're doing that's causing, unwellness. Because I think we're part of the picture. I think
Yeah.
we want to believe that we're not, but unfortunately, I think we are very much part of our own well-being.
In terms of, going back to a point we were talking about at the beginning, um, with all these technologies becoming more powerful and also sometimes kind of opening Pandora's box in terms of people traumas, or do you feel the need in your facility to include trauma training for your staff, or like training on more science, etc.? So the people, the employees who are there can also support the guests on their journey. Because that's something that I see, like not really on necessarily on the spa themselves, but also like on the retreat side, where there's more and more people who want to do retreats and don't know how to hold these kind of spaces and deal with this like health or trauma, etc. So do you see like a need of the industry to really get more training on these kind of things?
I don't think it's training. I think it's Christopher. I think you have to have a Christopher. You have to, because you need an expert for these
Yeah.
kind of things. And I think that's what Carillon did. We have experts that we work with in our business to provide that, because I don't think trauma without guidance of someone who comes from that practice can carefully walk people through. Trauma is very a difficult thing, so you need an expert focused on it. But like for instance, we have integrative and functional medicine. We also are partnering recently, because another topic you're going to hear more and more about is the brain health, right? So we partnered with a company, Brain Optimization Lab, and their focus is really for the military, for NFL players, sports players that have brain injuries, and then also the aging brain. When I was in Dubai, I toured a facility that was over the top, but they had, hyperbaric chambers that held 24 people in them. I mean, this
Wow.
was a 75,000 square foot facility that they had to have, $100 million invested in it, but they also had the doctors and the specialists to support that, right? So the same with Brain Optimization Lab, they have doctors behind it that are focused on brain injury, that are, this is what they, went to school for. This is what they doctored for. So I think the thing is having experts to support. And in our at Carillon, with that's what we do. We partner with experts, and they're in our space, and they're doing something that we're not capable of doing. We're hospitality, we're spa, we're fitness. We have 265 fitness classes a week. I mean, we can provide a lot, but we're not experts in that part. So I think you have to have a Christopher.
No, I totally agree, because from a brand perspective, that is different. We are the ones that are creating the devices. Now that everyone is talking about influencers or media, whatever, for us also is very important, like to have this connection with the experts, the doctors, the physicians, the people who are using our devices in the clinics or even in the spas or whatever, because they are the ones that they really know how to use it and when and to who, because there's a lot of understand a lot of misinformation, like we are in a moment that everyone thinks that knows about everything about technologies, and we all are experts in red LED light, when someone comes and is like, no, I'm going to buy this because a red LED, and it's like, Do you know what is red LED light and how this can help? So for us, it's also very, very important to have these key opinion leaders that are the ones that are going to explain and to see the value of the technology applied to wellness, to beauty. So not just from the perspective for the ones that are working, also the brands, we have that commitment to find the perfect spokesperson that is going to explain and to know how to use this, you know. And I think it's very important because at the end, media can talk, influencers can talk, your neighbor can talk about the LED ones, but you know, it's very, very important to maintain that. And it's our commitment, as I was saying, like to educate the everyone, the person who is working, the consumer, the all the people. It's very, very important.
You mentioned if infrared, and Tammy before mentioned the hyperbaric chamber. There was also a big trend of cryotherapy. Like, what are the technologies right now that you think are the most effective or the most interesting or promising?
If you're talking about technology with us, I would tell you that my top 5, believe it or not, cryo is number 1 for men and women. Most people are terrified to do it the first time, but after they do it or experience it, they have a whole different outlook on cryo. That's number 1. VEMI, which is vibroacoustics. It works on, helping eliminate EMF. That's my second most popular. Actually, Sammy Greeny has Wellnamis, which it takes you to a beta sleep in 9 minutes. So people that have sleep issues, you can get on that bed. That's very popular. Salt float baths, because it's 800 pounds of Epsom salt. Again, it's perfect to couple with a traditional massage because it relaxes the muscle tissue. You're in it for 30 minutes. 800 pounds of Epsom salt you're floating in, and it just relaxes your whole entire body. That's another popular one. And then one that is biocharger. I don't know if anybody has heard about it. It's popular, but it's not as popular, but people love it because it's like sitting around a fireplace. It has a dome and it actually has 1,200 healing frequencies in the technology. So for instance, we have a perimenopause and menopause 4-night retreat. So we have a specific frequency for menopausal and premenopausal women. There's a sleep frequency. There's one for skin. It has so many different frequencies. What we do is we focus on what we hear people talking about, what they need. So like as one piece of technology, I think the biocharger can really focus and help people have healthy frequencies that go to the cellular level, where VEMI is removing the EMF. It's helping to remove it from the cells, but the biocharger is PEMF, and that's putting new healthy frequencies. And it can be we have a frequency for brain health for it. Like I said, there's 1,200 different ones, but these are some of the real popular ones, but they're dealing with a variety of different issues that people have. It's not just one thing, right? So those for us, like I said earlier, we have 27 different technologies, and most people aren't going to have that much technology because it's about $1.5 million worth of technology. But we're a great place for people to come and try and decide what's going to work for their facility. And I don't suggest that anybody would ever invest that kind of money, but we happen to be a platform, and we happen to welcome hotels and hoteliers. We invite them all the time to try different technologies for free to see what's going to work for them or what their client base is sharing with them their needs. And I think, again, we're a wellness resort, so people come to us for wellness. You know, people will, believe it or not, call our hotel reservation team. Like we had a couple that came in and stayed 4 nights. They competed in bodybuilding for 1 year. They had like 4% body fat, but now they were trying to recover because they had a lot of pain. They came and did the muscle recovery and pain management circuit for 4 days right in a row, and then said, oh my God, I feel, you know, pain free. I can't believe how I feel. And they come and they visit us quite often. So again, people have specific needs, and I think that's what you have to listen. If you're in the hotel business or longevity business, I think you have to listen to what your customer is talking to you about, and then build your programming around that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. I got to come down and visit you, Tammy. It sounds like a wonderland, like Disney World for me. I think like a couple technologies that, you know, beyond what Tammy mentioned that I think would be really interesting, and I think you're going to see more of. One would be like what's called neuroacoustics or bioacoustics. It's sound frequencies. So while you're talking a lot about light frequency, we understand now the data is there, the clinical studies, the empirical data, anecdata. It's all supporting how specific frequencies of sound can affect things like our nervous system, right? So again, bringing you from sympathetic activation to parasympathetic activation, mood balance, focus, memory, attention, motor control. And so the treatment areas for something like neuroacoustics or bioacoustics is very wide, right? From you know stress to sleep to even potentially things like RLS, restless leg syndrome, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, neurodegeneration, right? I mean, we're just getting started, I think, in this area. The other that I think would be really interesting that kind of pair with all of this, and again, kind of falls into this category of alerting someone to the fact that their nervous system is dysregulated, would be like haptic feedback devices that are connected to something like a biometric device. So a ring or a strap that would alert you that you've moved into a different state, you know, nervous system state. You know, that your HRV has dropped to a point that would be reflective of a stress response, so that then you are aware of it. Because sometimes we only figure out that we're stressed after we've reacted to the stress, after there's you know a conflict. So I think this would be useful in interpersonal relationships as well. Okay, might save some marriages, but certainly it would help someone. And this goes back to your question before, Celine. Would actually help the person to interocept what's happening in their body, because I think it's not so obvious that your brain and body are, yes, connected, but they speak in different languages. And so attuning someone to what's happening in their body, so then they can use the right modality, right? They know they need to hop in that vibroacoustic chair, they need some red light or contrast therapy, etc., because they're now aware of what their nervous system state is. And so I think those two areas I'd love to see more of, and I think we will.
And Vanya, in the more like beauty side of things, what are you seeing?
What happening is like I'm talking also, it depends on the country and on the market. From the other side of the sea, it's true that everyone is like looking for LED lights. It's something that, but I think because they trust that and they don't see it like invasive or something like that, you know, because at the end we are talking about devices to use at home. So people also, I mean, it's something that they are still now feeling confident to use the technology, because sometimes it's like, no, I prefer to go to a professional, but now they have that confidential because you need them to give them like these devices that are, you, as you were saying, Christopher, are use friendly, you know, that they know how to use it. So they prefer to start with this, you know, or microcurrent or LED light or something like that, so that they don't feel that it's so invasive. But more or less, they are more like willing to try different things.
Thank you. Thank you. And in terms of the benefits of these technologies in a hotel setting, so you're mentioning people using the devices at home, but in a hotel setting, like what are the benefits of Welltech? Like we mentioned the benefits to give access to products or to technologies or um, also like how do I say that? Like services that are easy to use and are less invasive or like less medical that um, guests would have like and it's more probably more impressive that doing going to a medical facility, and probably for certain thing you don't need to go to a medical facility, so it's nice to be in the hotel setup. um, in terms of employees, it's also seen as giving also a bit more flexibility to the hotels because you need less manpower for certain devices. Like you can have one like wellness or the Welltech concierge taking the guests through the different appliances and they do the things in their appliances, or um, also increased personalization because if you have the data, you can personalize more the treatments. So so what are the over? But then you have like the other side of the things, like with the like it's costly, like you mentioned, Tammy, like the cost of the devices, or so what would you see the plus and minus for a child setting to include more technology?
Well, one thing is, I think you have to focus on another story. I'm going to tell you a COO over 27 different um, ski resorts. So him and his wife came down and they tried the muscle recovery and pain management circuit. His goal was to to buy that technology, but it wasn't so much about wellness. He was trying to get his guests to get back out on the ski slopes and spend more money skiing. Now, not to say he was opposed to the wellness it was going to bring or the recovery it was going to bring to the person, but his goal was, he was an avid skier, so was his wife. They were in their 50s and they had some, pain management, and they came and they tried the circuit and they text me the next morning. Both of them separately said, I never slept so good in my life. My body doesn't hurt. And I think this is perfect for a ski resort. It also would be perfect for a golf resort for golfers, because our CFO at Carillon, he's a diehard. He golfs 2 times on the weekends. He's 60 years old. His body takes a beating from doing 18 holes a day. So he comes in and does the re-lounge, which is a microcurrent, does that before he goes off for the weekend, and he comes back in on Monday and does it again. So, I mean, technology can be used for specific things that people were looking for wellness. And I think, as a platform, we see a lot of different benefits to our guests, not just our hotel guests, but our local community. Because, like I mentioned, 60% of my revenue is coming from the local community. So they're looking for wellness and they're looking for specific, but since we offer so much we're broad, right? We focus on perimenopause and menopause, pain relief, detoxification, sleep wellness. I mean, we offer so much. Now we're going to be doing the aging brain and then hosting some athletes that have need long-term care for, the concussions that they've had. That's not going to go away overnight. You know what I mean? That's more like long-term care because they've done so much damage. But I think at any resort, I think if you are a resort, you need to find out what technology is really going to benefit your clients, because you can't have everything.
Yeah.
So I think people have to focus on what they're like. Not everybody's in Miami Beach. We have a lot of New Yorkers, Canadians, people from Atlanta, if you talk about who's coming to us, you know, we have a demographic of people coming from the north to spend time here. So we also have the average age that's coming here as a guest is 50 and over. You know, we have luxury apartments. We aren't just a hotel. We have full kitchens, living rooms, bedrooms. And the reason we have that, it's more comfortable for somebody to stay with us 4 nights or 7 nights, or for instance, these athletes that might have to come stay a month to get the care they need for the brain injuries that they have. So I don't think there's a one size fits all for any business. I think you have to look at your business and find out what's going to what technologies are going to complement what you're providing, you know. And that would, like Dr. Christopher, he would need to focus on things that are going to affect the nervous system, that are going to help heal and make people feel better through different types of technology. So everybody's, you know, everybody has their own niche, I think, and I think you need to focus on that.
Thank you. Yeah, great.
I think we all agree on what Tammy was saying. No, at the end, it's like to understand who you are speaking and to give efficient solutions. If not, it's not going to work. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
I think the only thing I would maybe reiterate from earlier, Tammy, you had mentioned, I think in hospitality, what needs to be ubiquitous is this focus on sleep. I mean, ultimately, you go to a hotel because it's a place to sleep, right? You're in a foreign place, you're outside of your home, you need a place to sleep. And I think hotels are just starting to really think about that and optimize it. I think the technology can be a tremendous boon in that area, in that it can both improve sleep, but also give like measurable outputs, right? Something that can lead to greater personalization. Because I think that's also what's coming with the technology is like hyper personalization, where your room literally knows who you are, what you are, issues you're dealing with, what your REM cycle is, and then knows how to design the room specifically for you, right? The temperature and the sounds and the light, et cetera. So I think that's coming and can be a huge benefit to the guests. But yeah, I think you gotta nail sleep first, and then everything else kind of comes out of that.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we're reaching the top of the hour. I'm just gonna ask the audience if someone has a question. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. No, no one has questions. Okay, well, thank you so much, Tammy, Christopher, Vanya, for being here today. That was a really great and interesting discussion. So thank you so much for your time. And I'll put the link of the magazine also where you have your interviews with the replay of this discussion, and so people can read the magazine too. And yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you.